The clock is ticking on Donald Trump's 30-day federal takeover of the D.C. police, and Democrats are on fire about it, calling the move everything from authoritarian overreach by a lawless president to an unnecessary stunt to a raw authoritarian power grab. Eleanor Holmes Norton, who represents D.C. as a delegate in Congress, and Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen are now reintroducing legislation to grant D.C. full control over its National Guard and the Metro Police Department. Now, they won't get it because it's a majority Republican Congress, but their messaging is clear. Donald Trump is out of control. And if you look at the 5 cities he called out directly at his press conference yesterday, all are majority cities. And then just last hour, here's the mayor of Baltimore on this program.
Every single city that he called out yesterday has a black mayor. If anybody thinks that's a coincidence, you're wrong. We know that folks, when they look and see black mayors around the country are actually winning on the issue that they want to talk about, or how high violence is in these black-led cities. But when you look, we're having the success of historic lows under black leadership, black mayor leadership across the country. And that should be something that should be uplifted. We should be helping those mayors expand that success, not trying to degrade them simply because they're not in your party.
Joining us now is Reverend Al Sharpton, National Action Network president and host of MSNBC's Politics Nation. Michael Hardaway is former communications director and spokesman for Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. So, Michael, is the message you're hearing the Democrats are not going to take this sitting down?
Power concedes nothing without action, is what Frederick Douglass said. And that's what Democrats are doing. They refuse to allow this to happen. The reality is that if Democrats lie down and let Republicans steal these seats in Texas, that is only the first step in many. They will do that in other states. And that is their way to try to hold the majority in the House, which is only centered on Donald Trump avoiding accountability for his litany of illegal acts during this presidency. And so Democrats have to fight here. They're doing the right thing. Leader Jeffries and Mr. Schumer are doing the right thing by leading that fight, and they should continue that.
So, Rev, one man in Washington, D.C. told our colleagues that he does not feel safe calling it home anymore, especially after President Trump's announcement. Take a listen.
It just feels like a microscope is now on black people, and listening to the press conference on my way over here, every city that he named, Chicago, Oakland, Baltimore, which, by the way, Baltimore's crime is down 50%. All of them are black cities. So it just feels not only like a target on DC's back, but also mine as a black man in DC. It's just, it doesn't feel like home anymore. I was just texting my mom and my girlfriend yo, I think it may be time to move out of DC, because for one, I'm not wanted, and two, it's not safe. And I kind of was left speechless, because this isn't home anymore. It doesn't feel like home anymore.
Donald Trump, Rev, says he's actually making Washington, D.C. safer. Is that what's happening?
Well, first of all, Donald Trump was sat in the White House several hours during January 6th while his followers were beating police officers, Capitol Police, and others, and never picked up the phone or picked up his Twitter and told them to stop. And when he finally did, it was almost at the end of the day. And to add insult to injury, when he got back in office, he pardoned people who'd been convicted of felony acts on January 6th. So now all of a sudden he wants to bring order to Washington. So you've got to deal with his record. His record is that if people are violent and disobey the law and assault law enforcement and are supportive of him, that's fine. But on some others that he claims out of control, because the data says that crime and violent crime has gone down in Washington, he's going to send out the National Guard. Well, why didn't he send it out January 6th? So this is clear politics. It's aimed at black mayors. It's aimed at also trying to take the Epstein case and the files off the front page. And it's drama that is at the expense of people. And it's sad. We're going to end up with stop and frisk in D.C. He will take it to other cities. while they at the same time try to rob people of their proper districts according to the census in Texas, and will do it other places. So the rules don't matter anymore. You don't wait on the census now to draw congressional lines. We'll do it when we want, because we need more seats to keep you out of power. And we will just uproot law enforcement, even though the data says things are going in the right way, because we just want to be in charge, and we'll set the rules as we go.
Well, I think, Rev, you probably just heard Michael say that he believes that Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are doing the right thing by pushing back against Texas redistricting. When you look at what seemed clearly from the president of the United States yesterday saying, listen, Baltimore, listen, Oakland, listen, New York, listen, Los Angeles, you could be next. How do officials and activists prepare for that?
I think they have to prepare by every means that is available to them within the law, by going into courts and enjoining and making the federal government prove the necessity to go in when the data is against what the president is saying. They should go into the federal courts. They should also have vibrant protest movements in these cities. This is how we dealt with Stop and Frisk in New York. There are many cities in between Washington and Chicago, Washington and Oakland. He only chose the black ones. So it is clear what he's trying to do. He's trying to race bait. His own base is very concerned about Epstein. So what do? You go throw your base red meat. Let's go back into race thing. All the blacks are breaking the crime, breaking the law. We need to go in. It's race bait. And I think that what he has done is disgraceful, and it puts people under siege unnecessarily, and it's a misuse of law enforcement people. Yes, where there's crime, we need to support those criminals being subject to the law. The majority of the people in Washington are black. They're victims of black. We're not making excuses for criminals, but he did on January 6th. And why should we trust his judgment when the data shows different?
Yeah, as the Rev points out, Michael, this is not new. The Associated Press put it this way, that this kind of rhetoric has been used by conservative politicians going back decades who have denounced American cities, especially those with majority non-white populations or led by progressive politicians, as lawless or crime-ridden, in need of intervention. But we know that there are facts, and then we know that there are feelings. And Donald Trump has been very successful at pushing this feeling that cities like where I live, cities like Washington, D.C., are scary places. And whether or not that is supported by objective fact, is enough of the population convinced that crime is a more serious problem than the numbers might suggest?
Well, he uses the gasoline of racism, and he's done this his entire life. 52 years ago, the Justice Department sued his family management company for discriminating against black residents. You've got the racist birther lie he used against Barack Obama. You've got the racism he enacted versus the Central Park Five. And most
taking
recently,
out a full-page ad.
Indeed. And most recently, the immigrant situation where he busts immigrants to these black cities. And so the reality is that the numbers matter here. Crime in D.C. is at a 30-year low. If he wants to clean up crime, he can go to Stillwell, Oklahoma, a very small town whose crime rate is 122% above the national average, and its murder rate is twice the national average. But he won't do that.
Reverend Al Sharpton, thank you. Michael, you're coming back with us in a bit.